classic that I watched for the first time recently.
I actually think the animated series was more my jam.
I want to talk about what you guys think Beetlejuice 2 needs to be successful.
What's poppin' Palaxy? Today on the Bounty Board, we talk all about the classic Beetlejuice. So y'all already know what to do. Kick up that warp drive and let's punch this thing. Welcome back to the Guardians of the Palaxy podcast, everybody. My name is MT, and I'm here with two of my wonderful friends, Whitney Van Laningham and Mr. Tommy Bechtold. What's going on, gang?
Hi.
My beautiful Beatles.
Are your Beatles feeling juiced today? Because
My
mine are
Beatles are all
Beatles are
juiced
extra
out.
juiced.
They're so juicy today. I love a good juicy Beetle.
Me too.
Beetlejuice 2 is on the way, so we just thought that we'd go a little bit back in time to an old Beetlejuice 1 and just talk about it because it's a classic that I watched for the first time recently, and it's very interesting. It's a very interesting, very creepy time. I was not expecting all that.
You know, I feel like so often it's a hamstring for me to be the old man on this podcast, to be the senior citizen. But man, you guys missed out on Beetlejuice, watching Beetlejuice way too young. The experience of
I did watch it way too young.
All right. When it first came out, parents were very confused by this movie. It appeared to be for kids because it featured all of this practical, very silly seeming effects in the trailer. And it is just pure terror for a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old. Most of the people I know in my age group saw Beetlejuice way too young. And then it took years for them to see it a second time because they were so scarred. Like, I honestly don't think I saw Beetlejuice in its entirety until I was like 17 years old, which would have been the year 2000.
In the year 2000.
Beetlejuice came out in 1986 or 87, I think.
Yeah.
So we're talking like 13, 14 years after. Anyway, I love this movie. I know Whitney loves this movie too because she is the owner of one of my prized possessions, my Beetlejuice t-shirt.
I was looking for it this morning and I was just too tired to dig through my drawer. I was gonna wear it. But yeah, before Tommy moved, he let me come over to his house to help him pack. I just drank a bunch of beer and sat around. It was great. And
that's all I did too because my sister was like, "You're more harm than help."
Tommy's sister basically packed him up while Tommy and I talked to her, provided valuable entertainment.
Yes.
Valuable entertainment. Not you can't put a price tag on the jokes we told your sister that night.
Yes, that's true.
I believe
we
it.
gave her the gift of laughter.
The gift of giggles, man. This movie for me, I could not believe that MT hadn't seen it. This movie was like a staple in my childhood. Fun fact about me, I already said this, I think, once before when we were talking about Batman the Animated Series, but my parents didn't really let me watch a lot of TV when I was a kid, or sometimes we'd watch movies, but it wasn't like a daily thing. So my grandparents showed me most of my favorite stuff.
Yes.
And my grandma is fucking notorious for showing me super scary movies way before I was old enough to do so. I saw The Shining when I was 12.
Oh, no.
And I'm pretty sure I saw Beetlejuice, when I was 4 or 5, because my grandma would just be like, I want to watch this movie. We're putting it on, kid. Stay or leave. And I'd be like, I can't leave. You're my grandma and I don't know how to drive a car. So I grew up watching Beetlejuice. I think that it made me overall a creepier person, which I'm happy about.
Yes.
I was obsessed and addicted to the Beetlejuice animated series when I was a kid. Did you guys watch that at all?
Oh,
well, MT, it sounds like a no, but Tommy, did you watch it?
I did. I watched every episode of it. I have some glass plate artwork of Beetlejuice and Lydia that I can't wait to display in my office that I just unboxed the other day
that's
that
so
I
cool.
bought in LA and packed up. I actually think the animated series was more my jam because it healed my trauma of watching Beetlejuice too young, because I definitely watched every episode of the animated series before I revisited Michael Keaton in all of his glory.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I did too. So it's okay.
I think I did watch a few episodes of the animated series, like on Cartoon Network. I think,
Yeah.
whenever it popped up, I never stuck around because, like, I never liked creepy things growing up because I was a big baby. Like Goosebumps,
Yeah.
He's
all
not a
that stuff.
Halloween boy.
No, so I never
Right.
got around to this.
I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong, but I'd like it to be researched. I'm pretty sure the same animators that did Beetlejuice, I don't know why I said animators that way. I'm pretty sure the same animators that did Beetlejuice were also the same animators that drew The Critic with John Lovitz.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because Beetlejuice and Jay Sherman have the exact same body and kind of like hair.
The art style is very similar.
No, that'd be really, really sick. I don't know.
Shout out to The Critic, a very niche animated show, but did get a crossover episode with The Simpsons. So,
Ooh, that's fun.
when you're crossing over. Speaking of crossing over, wow, what a transition.
Oh, that's
damn.
a really good transition.
Yeah, that was good. I like it when you transition by calling it a transaction. I think that's the best kind.
Segueing in, we have the Maitland family, Maitland, whatever they're called. It's Maitland. I was thinking of Marlee Maitland, the Academy Award-winning deaf actress. The Maitland family, they don't want to sell their house, guys. I'm not going to go into a full summary of the show of this movie, but basically, this is a movie about real estate and the real estate market. It is an allegory for the lethal industry of real estate. They don't want to sell their business, but their cousin, damn it, she's motivated. She's a motivated seller. She wants them out of the house.
Yo, I remember like watching this movie for the first time. I was like, why is this chick so obsessed with getting these people out of this house? Like, what's wrong with this house? Beautiful, large house. I would love that house.
I think she wants them out of the house because it has value, and she already has a buyer for it. So she's like, commish. I want that commission.
I want that sweet, sweet commission. Beetlejuice at its core is a film about getting that sweet, sweet
It's a movie about a grind set mentality, having side hustles,
mindset.
passive income, active income, ROIs, basically millionaire mindset.
Oh my God.
Sorry, I ate a piece of pizza before this, and I feel like 90% of it is in my beard. So
honestly,
if I touch my face a lot, it's because there's beetles in it!
Beetles in your juice!
Beetlejuice on the beard.
Basically, how this whole movie gets kicked off, they die. They die and they don't realize that they're
They
dead.
die in a noble way by not hitting a dog. I like that. I was like, you know what?
They die in a very noble way. The dog does not get injured.
A tried and true means of death on TV and movies is to have characters swerve out of the way of an animal, which I'm sure happens very tragically in the real world all the time, which is why it's used so often. But damn, this dog really effed them. Although
really fucked this family up.
A couple points of contention on the infamous bridge that they drive off of. That water doesn't seem that deep. I don't know.
It doesn't seem that deep. When they crash their car is still
It's
like
so
kind of like, I'm like, could you guys
know.
not break a window and climb out? Were windows like tougher to break in the 80s?
To quote my 13-year-old nephew, it's not that deep.
For real, on God, no cap. Not that deep.
Sheesh. Oh, that was from 5 years ago. I'm so cringe right now. I'm so skibbity, but I should be sick.
Oh my God.
This podcast just went from meant for like, nerdy people 18 to 100 to only for 8 to 12-year-olds.
Yes, that's what we do here. And that's why we're trying to introduce them to Beetlejuice, because we want to scar them like we were once scarred.
Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis, two prime hotties in their prime during this movie. Not to make it all about thirst, but you got Gina Davis at her, beautiful woman. But damn, in the late 80s, she was bringing the heat.
I cannot even believe how hot Alec Baldwin was in the 80s. We were talking about this off camera before we came on the show. Tommy was saying that MT and I are too young, and we truly missed out on the Baldwin renaissance of the 80s. I agree.
It was known. I mean, Alec Baldwin's shtick used to just be that he was the leader of a hot gang of brothers. There was William, there was Daniel, there was Billy, and then the leader of it all was Alec. And they were all handsome men that were like, that was their thing. And then they all slowly kind of morphed into like, slightly more full-figured versions of themselves in the late 90s and early 2000s, and just became this family of like kind of funny guys. Steven became super religious and really into skateboarding for some reason. And now he's Justin Bieber's father-in-law. So
Insane.
What?
Truly insane. Yeah, just Haley Bieber is a Baldwin.
Yeah, she's a
So
Baldwin.
weird.
Baldwin family just grew. New baby boy for the Biebers and the Baldwins. Beeb and
Oh,
Bald.
baby boy
Ooh,
Bieber
Bieber
Baldwin
Baldwins.
bonanza.
Baby boy Bieber Baldwin.
Bald
A
Bieber
Say
baby
that.
boy Bieber
Baldwins.
Baldwin bundle of joy. Bundle of joy. Say that 5 times fast. And if you do, maybe a baby boy Bieber bundle of joy will appear before you. But there's one rule to this movie. You don't say the titular character's name 3 times or you're going to summon him. MT, were you surprised upon your watching how little Beetlejuice is in this movie?
100,000%. I was like, yo, like he's sort of like in the background, like waiting for his chance to pounce. And like he's when he does show up, he's kind of terrifying in a weird like retro way. He's a big ass worm. I'm like, what the fuck is that about? But like no, like it's just like it's more about Alec Baldwin and his hot wife and like them trying to kick out these people. Also, Catherine O'Hara. Fucking fantastic.
God, Catherine O'Hara fucking
Oh my
rules.
God.
She's just the greatest. She's the
Also
greatest
super
of all
fine
time.
in this movie. Super fine. I'm like,
And I
my
think
God.
as the kids would say, serving C-word in this movie with the
Serving
power
so
of
much
1,000
C.
suns.
She has that like mean mom role like down pat. Even though like she was a beautiful mom in Home Alone, obviously. But like she's just like she can tap into that like mean like energy, that like Cruella DeVille type energy. I'm like, you know what? I
She's
fucking
very
love it.
versatile. I mean, this is like maybe a little more Moira Rose than it is.
Yeah, honestly, it is.
Mrs. McAllister.
Okay, guys, I just had a really great idea for a crossover. We should do Home Alone at the Beetlejuice house.
Oh my
Catherine
God.
O'Hara stars in both.
There has
This
to
time,
be fan
Macaulay
fiction of
Culkin
that.
is
There
trapped
has to
with
be.
ghosts.
There has to be fan fiction.
Also, and this is not a ageist thing, but Catherine O'Hara's in her like mid 70s now. Like, are we 5 years away from a Home Alone where they leave the aged mother in the house?
Oh my
alone
God,
by
that would be
herself?
great. That would honestly be great.
And she has to fend off like to the Hemsworth brothers as cat burglars.
Yes.
Am I just coming up with the best movie idea right now?
No, that is the best movie idea I've ever heard.
It should be the way like Terminator has tried a few times to come out with a sequel where they're like, the other sequels don't exist. This should just be called Home Alone 3. And they should be like, all other Home Alones after Home Alone 2 Lost in New York starring President Donald Trump do not count. So empty. Yeah, that's why I feel like I got to pour some leading questions on you. I was surprised upon my rewatch to remember how few scenes actually surround Beetlejuice and how much he is, much like canceled pervert director Woody Allen. He's like the city of New York. He's a character. He's like a part of this movie in the peripheral. But we do get some amazing performances. I mean, all of the Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis stuff in the underworld too is just amazing.
Oh God,
I mean,
it's so good.
That old lady who plays their caseworker. The fact that it's like still red tape when you die, like
there's still bureaucracy in death. God
That
damn
is
it.
the most interesting. Like the most interesting part of Beetlejuice for me is the universe, because it's just like, what is that huge like wasteland? Like, what is this huge like weird like ghost bureaucracy? Like, I like that aspect. I'm like, this is really sci-fi. This is like a sci-fi type of deal. I'm like, I dig it.
It's Tim Burton at his like Tim Burton-esque, because it's like he rattled off Pee Wee Herman, then this, then Batman, and it was like all of his statements on like the dark and macabre, death and darkness, and all these things, and or like scary and grotesque is actually all controlled by like a business class and like people that are like, it's like it can be super scary, but at the end of the day, if you don't file your forms correctly, that's the scariest thing about this.
Yeah, that's
it's
the
like,
scariest thing about the
not
afterlife.
not obeying the rules.
If you don't obey the handbook for the recently deceased, you are fucked.
I can't wait for Hot Topic to have so many handbook for the recently deceased items
I'm
this
fucking
Christmas.
ready for it. I have a sweatshirt handbook for the recently deceased. I think it was actually one of the first birthday presents Brett ever got me when we started dating. Because I'm a big Beetlehead.
Producer Brett, what a sweetie he is.
MT, I can't believe that we've been friends for 3 years. You've never seen Beetlejuice, and you just accept that my bio on all social media is, I'm the ghost with the most, babe. That's what that's from. It's from Beetlejuice. So that's because
I understand. That is
I'm the
hilarious.
host with the most, but I put a little G in front of it, you know?
I literally thought that was all you. I was like, you know what? What a clever friend I have.
Unfortunately, not as clever as Michael Keaton. So sorry.
No.
So sorry to disappoint.
Okay, that's a great segue because Michael Keaton is so crazy in this movie. By all accounts, is matching that. He's matching his own freak in Beetlejuice 2, should I say. I just
the only person who can match Beetlejuice's freak is Beetlejuice.
That's right.
There's no one on earth.
His performance in this movie, and I think my hope for the sequel is like him and Tim Burton got like locked in on the same page from the second they agreed to do this. It was like, I have this vision, and Michael Keaton's like, I got it. I think Michael Keaton designed the costume, or at least had like a pretty significant.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure that he had a pretty significant input in both the makeup and costuming for. I don't know if he. Okay. Let me roll that back. I'm sure that Beetlejuice had an incredible costume designer.
I don't think Michael Keaton did his own makeup. Can you imagine Michael Keaton just like a YouTube tutorial?
I'm saying I think he had input in how the character looked, and then that vision was executed. No disrespect to our many talented,
of course, I'm just teasing you.
Makeup artists and costume designers. One of the like Hollywood urban legends is that like Michael Keaton came fully dressed as Beetlejuice to Tim Burton's office the first time to show him like, this is what it looks like, babe. Trying to show off how it looks, and Tim Burton was like, yep, that's it. You got it. You nailed it. No, we're doing it this way.
Is that how you used to be able to get a job in the 80s? You just show up rocking a Beetlejuice suit and be like,
know this, but Peter Weller cut off everything but his spine and brain and then came in like RoboCop. He's like, I cut my own dick off for this. Robo wants an Oreo. I cut my dick off for this. So many incredible practical gags. Even just seeing the scary face that he can make when the Alec Baldwin and Gene Davis are skeptical if he can be scary enough, and it's just those like party streamers. And from the back, it's even scarier because you're like, what the hell is that?
Right.
Speaking of being terrified, that was the part that scared me the most when I was a kid, was when they are in the bureaucratic afterlife and their caseworker is like, are you sure you can be scary? And they're like, all right, watch this. And they just pull out their faces and then there's eyeballs in her mouth. Dude, that part definitely scarred me for life. I still see those faces in my dreams.
One of the most jarring parts of the movie for me, Alec Baldwin's wife, she just rips off her face. I think that's one of the first.
When she's hanging in the closet. She goes,
And that's one of the first creepy things to happen in the movie. And it just happens so fast and so suddenly. That's just like, if I was a kid and like I thought that this was like a kid's movie, I would lose my shit.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
But the humor of her being disappointed that
that they don't care.
And they push her away. And they reveal all those amazing products in the closet. Products like our sponsor today, which is pretty incredible. We have an amazing sponsor. And normally I say that I'm lying. Normally I say that and it's like, our products are just fine. But today our sponsor is really special.
Hey, you.
Hi.
Hey, you. You're a koala. You're a koala, right?
I sure am.
Do you have chlamydia and you're looking to find another koala who shares your STD?
Oh, I sure do.
How did you know?
And if we got a dating app for you, Koala Matchmaker will absolutely set you up. First of all, the matchmaker himself is a kangaroo. First of all. Second of all, he knows koalas. That guy knows what's in a koala's heart, what a koala is looking for in a partner, what qualities that partner might have.
Oh, thank God. All these female koalas keep looking at my leaky dick. They say, "Oh no, Niagara Falls."
If you act right now, if you call 1-800-KOALA B. That's the amount of letters it is. If you call 1-800-KOALA-B right now, we will even throw in 5 free eucalyptus sticks. That's right.
God.
Well, that's my favorite food, isn't it?
Seduce your honey. Seduce your koala sweetheart with some beautiful, beautiful eucalyptus.
Come eat these leaves, then come suck on these leaky nuts.
Eat these leaves and suck on these. Koala Matchmaker will help you find love.
I'm ready to love again.
If I was a koala, I would use this 24. I'd be swiping all day.
God, yes.
Just swiping all day with your little koala thumbs.
With your opposable koala
with your
thumbs.
little
Bro.
God damn it. I love those cute little sexually transmitted, disease-ridden are they marsupials?
They should be.
Wait, do koalas really have chlamydia like that?
Yes.
Almost all of them. Yeah.
Almost all koalas have chlamydia. That's a real fact.
Wow, koalamidia.
Yeah, koalamidia. They're just like little STD farmers. They're just in there, just
That is so freaky.
spreading it all around.
Since they're from Australia, they have chlamydia.
Yeah, chlamydia. I've got chlamydia.
I got chlamydia.
My penis is leaking again, isn't it? Chlamydia ravaging my pain.
You've talked about leaky koala dicks 3 times now. That is exactly the amount of times as saying Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
Oh my
You know what?
gosh.
Back to the juice. I want to talk about the thing about Beetlejuice that scared me the most as a kid was that goddamn sandworm. You know,
Oh, God.
move over,
Yeah,
dude.
the effects were super cool on the sandworm. I do like that. I like the retro, like 80s era effects of how they did things.
Yeah, and I hope they bring him back.
I mean, do you think he's still like a working actor?
The sandworm? I'm probably retired receiving Medicare, but
I mean, after the Dune series became big, worms are now in.
I
As
want
long
that
as he's
sandworm
still in
practical,
SAG, though, he still gets health benefits, I'm
Well,
sure.
he probably hasn't paid his dues if he isn't
Probably
working
hasn't
a lot.
paid his dues, yeah, because
Anyway.
he's in the sand dimension.
Oh my God, he is. He's in that. What do they call it? It's like the wasteland or something like that. Or I don't know. Anyway, anytime I was at a beach, I pretended a sandworm was about to come get me for years after that.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
That
Oh my
is
God,
very
that's
scary
trauma.
to think
That's
about.
trauma.
Here's what always confused me. I was under the impression as a kid that the sandworm was Beetlejuice because it's black and
Yeah,
white.
it's black and white striped.
But then it eats Beetlejuice at the end.
It does, yes.
Is it like God, where Jesus is a part of him, but also his God?
Yes.
There's the juice, the worm,
and the holy beetle.
Yes.
It's his evil brother, Juice Beetle.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, he's just reverse. He's like reverse Flash. Anyway, the sandworm got to me as a kid. I don't know. Anything that was just chasing, like Tremors, I remember being very scary. I had not yet treated myself to David Lynch's Dune, so I didn't have that sandworm fear, but definitely some hardcore Beetlejuice sandworm fear was rolling in my young Tommy Tot head. Yeah, the sandworm always scared me. And I think, we do have to address the final act of the film is surrounding Beetlejuice's desire to marry Lydia. However,
which is insane. She is a teenager.
That's literally what I was about to say.
School-aged
I'm like,
child.
yo, someone called Chris Hansen.
Not just any school-aged child. She's a deeply suicidal teenage child who was straight up going to throw herself
for
off
someone
the same.
toxic like Beetlejuice?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's not good. It is not a good idea.
Allow me to defend it. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
No, I do believe this is a Tim Burton and Michael Keaton. You will answer for this, but storytelling wise, he really just wanted to marry her so he could stay in the human world forever, right? Like it wasn't like
it wasn't like he
I'm
was
deeply attracted to this teenager. It was more like if I force you to marry me, then I can stay here forever. However, I feel
not
like
great optics either way.
Not great optics, and as I said. In the Broadway show, they basically retcon it, or they call it out, in the Broadway show. Like within the first 3 minutes of it, in the opening number, they talk about how this will not be about that.
No, that's great.
Good for them. Shout out Anthony King, my former improv teacher who wrote that musical.
That's so cool.
Oh,
yes.
That's really cool. Shout out. I think that probably one of the most unrealistic parts of Beetlejuice for me, a movie about the afterlife. I think that the most unrealistic part for me is that at the end, when they let Lydia fly and dance to Shake, 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 Senora, why do the football ghosts show up? Lydia is not a cheerleader. Lydia is not popular enough to have a whole staircase full of hot football player ghosts who did not survive a plane crash, apparently.
Right.
She does not, they would never pay a second of attention to her. She is a weird goth girl who probably is the star student in her photography club.
My thought on that was that it was a very typical 1980s sex joke of now you have earned the hot football players. Now you have, you know what I mean? That was
you had to deal with the grody dead guy in a suit, and now you've earned their right to a hot football player dancing in the background.
Exactly. But that was like every 80s movie was like, even if your character is a introspective, thoughtful nerd, at the end of the day, you want to have sex with the aesthetically mainstream opinion, hottest person available on the market for you. So it's like, yeah, in a world of like bookish, nerdy boys, she's still going to be like, I want the 6'4" Travis Kelce. And like, don't we all, right? Like, I get it.
Nope. I can honestly say I have never dated a sportsman. I have only dated little nerds, little tiny baby nerds. If you can break them with a twig,
you wouldn't survive a second in the 80s with that.
I wouldn't have. No, have you met me? Of course I wouldn't survive a second in the 80s. I was already heavily bullied in the 90s. The 80s, I would not have survived. They would have just like hung me on a flagpole by my underwear and I would die.
They would have never sent dead football players to you to celebrate.
Oh God, no. Oh God, no.
They would not. That they were like, she doesn't wear her makeup anymore, so she's better. Like, look at, she wears like traditional makeup. Her face is fully colored. Not to get like super into like the history of makeup, but it's like, there's a lot of like pointing fingers to the fact that like blush and things are meant for men to look at women and women to have the appearance that they just like physically exerted themselves, possibly in a sexual way. And that's why blush is attractive to men. You can look it up. I'm not making this up anywhere. This is things that like...
Really?
This is something Tommy's making up, just FYI, everybody. This is
I created the Beetlejuice suit myself.
I walked into Tim Burton's office wearing it.
It's like that, that's like that clip of Bella Thorne that was like, I walked into a Disney executive, said, I'm going to change the world. And that's exactly what we did here today. And it's whatever her weird Disney show is that didn't change the world.
That did not change the world.
Sorry, Bella, but I'm directing that porno. So there are some side characters we haven't gotten into. We haven't gotten into Otho, R.I.P. that actor who is presumably not be returning. Are they going to Harold Ramis him and just have him be like, but his character's an asshole, so it's not like you want like,
his character
we wanted Egon Spengler to come back in Ghostbusters Afterlife. I don't know that we need Otho to, maybe just a portrait of him. I think a picture of him.
I think that because he's dead and he's trapped in bureaucratic hell right now, he'll do anything to make a little movie magic. I don't know, guys.
Yeah, that's true.
I think coming back from the dead for this one is highly probable.
Maybe the family of the actor's estate will license his whatever.
I don't actually want that. Dead people should get to stay dead. You should not be forced to work. No, I'm not. You should not. You should not be forced to work in the afterlife. I'm sorry.
And live actors should stay home and shut up and dribble.
Me and Whitney saw The Flash together. She gave the standing ovation when she saw Christopher Reeves digitally recreated. She stood up. She was like, "Yes,
he can walk again."
This is what I want.
I still haven't seen The Flash. The only scene from The Flash that I've seen is the one where all the babies fall out into the sky and he has to rescue like 17 babies. That's the only scene I've seen because it was on Twitter everywhere.
I hated that scene so much. It was so stressful. It's like, why are you putting babies in peril? And we already all whatever. Let's not talk about The Flash, but let's talk about the correct move Beetlejuice 2 is doing, which is to kill Jeffrey Jones's character off. Jeffrey Jones very famously has been arrested multiple times for inappropriate acts with underage children. Which is a bit of life imitating art, if you will, from the first movie. And so it appears, based on the trailers, that we begin Beetlejuice 2 at his funeral. Or at least that is...
God, fuck that guy.
That dude had a bunch of memorable roles in 80s movies. And it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm sorry that he's in them. We can't take him out of Ferris Bueller. We can't take him out of Beetlejuice 1. He's not ever going to be removed from those things, but we don't have to gainfully employ him, right? So,
let's never employ that man again.
He's one of the more forgettable parts of the first movie anyway, but
he is. His character does basically nothing. But something that I've always thought was really funny too, in addition to the whole like football player scene, it's in the same vein. Why does having ghosts suddenly solve Lydia's relationship with her parents? Like all of a sudden they just like her now, and before Catherine O'Hara was just like, Lydia, you're such a bitch. Go outside, do your homework, whatever. Let me do my art. And then at the end, they're like, oh, it sounds like Lydia got an A on her math test. Yeah, I love that kid. And it's like, how does having ghosts fix your family trauma?
When you're a spooky little weirdo, it's going to be unconventional medicine. You can't solve everything with Ritalin and Adderall. Sometimes you got to just get some ghosts in your life. It's like how my dad thinks all mental illness can be cured by jogging.
I was just going to say, do you think that I wouldn't have BPD if I had just gotten some ghosts when I was little?
Whitney, I don't understand why you can't just get a gym membership and cure your BPD. It's really crazy.
Just cure that.
My clinical depression would just be gone if I would only just go out for a walk every now and then.
God, I hate going outside. Fuck that. So, gang, before we sort of start wrapping this bad girl up, I want to talk about what you guys think Beetlejuice 2 needs to be successful, because sequels are always a little disappointing. Sometimes, I mean, when sequels are made like 30 years after the thing, like the original happened, it's often seen, it's kind of just like a quick cash grab, a money grab. Everybody loves Beetlejuice. It sells out costumes every fucking Halloween. Everybody wants to be Lydia, including me. I've been Lydia for Halloween twice.
Nice.
So of course they want to make another one. But in order for this movie to be good, what would need to happen for you guys to be like, yes, I like Beetlejuice?
I firmly believe that the director, Tim Burton, and the cast's commitment to practical effects and practical costuming will be the key to this movie. I think the cast is already there. You have Catherine O'Hara, you have Winona Ryder, you have Jenna Ortega, and you have Michael Keaton as your core cast. Joining them are Justin Theroux and Willem Dafoe, two of the spookiest boys that you ever will know.
Nice.
And I have high hopes that the performances in this movie will be great. Like we said, the story of the first movie is not exactly Shakespeare, guys. So it's like, I think keep the moments fun, keep Beetlejuice delightfully, playfully terrifying, and commit to practical effects where possible. And you got yourself a solid. I mean, by all accounts, early reviews are pretty solid for this movie. I've
been surprised. I've been really pleasantly surprised hearing all the reviews, because I was worried it was just going to be a shit show.
And in this day and age, too, the money on the internet is to just hate it before it comes out. So it's like, I haven't seen a ton of that, probably because the cast is predominantly white and there's
Winona, right? Oh yeah, no, that's true.
Males. So, other than that little Jenna Ortega issue that they have to clean up, the internet seems pretty positive about the movie. I'm kidding, of course, but we do know that is the fact, that they'd be like, well,
it is.
I don't really understand how Winona Ryder had a Latina daughter unless her husband was Latino.
Guess what? That happens.
That's how that happens.
Guess what? Ripley's Believe It or Not.
MT, what do you think it needs to have?
In the same vein of like, a Toy Story 4, I feel like it has to like sort of justify its existence by like adding to the narrative of the first movie and sort of being like an epilogue of sorts to like the original story. If it can like sort of like bridge that gap well, and like, I don't know, I think it'll be good. Also, I personally want to see more of the supernatural world and more like of that background, and like with our VFX these days, I feel like we could really expand on what they already built, because like they were limited by what they had, but like I feel like we could like really like make things,
that was the
like,
80s
really cool,
and they have a bigger, better budget now. Effects are better, practical effects are better, special effects are better. So yeah, man, I have some pretty high hopes for that.
What about Whit? What do you think?
I think for me, what I need, first of all, I need a really good explanation for why the Maitlands aren't living in the house anymore, because they were supposed to be in that house till they died in the afterlife. So did they die in the afterlife? Did they move? What happened? Where are they? Where are those ghosts? I need a satisfactory answer that isn't just like, I don't know, they got old and they don't want to be in the movie anymore.
Well, here's the question. Do you think we're going to get a surprise cameo?
But that's the thing. How can we do a cameo of them using like the real actors? Obviously, if they used like CGI or whatever, or like,
I'm saying, do you think Gina Davis, is there any chance Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin are in this movie?
I don't think so, because how would you explain them aging if they're ghosts?
Oh.
Because even like Beetlejuice himself, like he was dead, and he was like rotting in the ground. And that's why his face is all gross and like corpsey and shit. And he got eaten by a sandworm. There's like reasons why Beetlejuice looks like shit in the afterlife. But the ghosts, I don't think that they would. So that's why I'm like, I don't think that Alec Baldwin would come back because he obviously just doesn't look the same at all anymore because he's older. So I'm wondering about that. I would welcome it, absolutely. If they give me a good reason why it makes sense in universe and it's not just, we're throwing him in for a cameo, throw a bone to the real fans. I am a real fan and I want real storytelling here. I want these things to be solid because that is always my biggest problem with like sequels that come out decades later is usually just like, okay, but why are you making, like, what is the story you're trying to tell with this? Are you just doing it for a cash grab? Or have you actually put thought behind these, like the answers to these questions that a lot of fans are going to have? So I'm very interested to see how they handle that. I really want it to be good. I also don't want them to repeat too many easy jokes because that's the other thing that bothers me about sequels. For example, the most egregious repeat joke, in my opinion, was in Pirates of the Caribbean 2 when they had that one guy say, "Hello, Poppet," again for no reason. And I was just like, why? You're just bringing back that quote because everybody loved "Hello, Poppet" from the first movie. So you're just there's no reason why this guy would say that. So I don't want them to bring back way too many of the same jokes. If it makes sense to slip a reference in there, oh fucking yeah. I love references. I love Easter eggs, baby. Inject that shit straight into my undead veins. But I need it to make sense. I need the callbacks to be funny and not way too heavy-handed to the point that it just feels like I'm watching a remake of the last one. If they're going to use the same jokes and the same dialogue, I'm not in it. But if they keep it fresh, if they answer fans' legitimate questions about the universe and the world building, and if they keep it light, keep it bright, keep it easy, keep it breezy, keep it sleazy like Beetlejuice is, I will love it. I have very high hopes for this movie. I think I'm really going to like it. I
high
love
hopes,
Beetlejuice.
baby. We got high apple pie in the sky hopes, and the only way to find out will be Beetlejuice in theaters this week, right, guys?
Yeah.
Beetlejuice.
If I say it 10 times, he brings me a free panini.
Oh my god, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, that's a hack. You have to read all the way through.
Bro, I don't want a panini
though.
for Beetlejuice. That's disgusting.
If I say it 15 times, will he bring me a double chunk chocolate cookie?
A double chunk chocolate cookie. Okay, true story, Palaxy fans. The other day, Brett got obsessed with the Costco guy, and we were laying in bed, and he was pretending to direct an episode of Palaxy as the double chunk chocolate cookie.
God.
Very, very good times, pals. Wish you were in our group chat.
I wish I was laying in bed with Brett while he directed me.
I know, right?
Pals. Check in on your pals. Don't mess with your pals' marriages by using your talented, sexy husbands.
Unless you're Tommy Bechtold.
Unless you're Tommy Bechtold, baby. Bechtold gets away with anything.
And if you ever need us, just say Palaxy 3 times and we shall appear before you. Good day, mates.
And we'll have a handbook of fake ads. You will have to read through all of it or get stuck in bureaucratic red tape for the rest of your days.
Okay, bye.
Good night, everybody. We love you guys.
Beetlejuice.
Oh my God, Michael Keaton's coming.